I want to thank the student who pointed out there was a mistake on this video of naming compounds, so I'm going to redo this. Remember that when you name compounds, you first decide if it's ionic, molecular, or a molecular acid, because those have 3 different rules. And just to recap, for an ionic, the name is simply the cation, which is the first ion, the metal ion, or the ammonium ion, followed by the anion. For an acid, we name the acid according to the rules of naming acids. And usually we look for a compound that's got an H with an ion that we know. And there's a separate set of rules for naming acids. And then for naming molecular compounds, we can tell because there are 2 atoms on the right-hand side of the table, 2 nonmetals, or a nonmetal and a metalloid, and we use prefixes to name them. Okay, so for the first compound, we see that HClO, we immediately think that, well, that's all nonmetals. Well, it's got an H, and then it's got an ion that we know. That's the hypochlorite ion with H+. So this is going to be not hydrogen hypochlorite, but remember the suffix "ite" in the ion becomes "us" acid. So it goes from the hypochlorite ion. When it's an acid, it's hypochlorous acid. FeBr3, that's a metal and a nonmetal. That's ionic. We note that the bromide ion is -1. That means the iron must be +3, so it's iron 3 bromide. K2CrO4, that's the potassium ion along with the chromate ion. The compound's name is potassium chromate. AlNO2 3, again, we don't use prefixes. We know it's an ionic compound because we have an aluminum ion along with a nitrite ion. So it's aluminum nitrite. NCl3. This one's not ionic. We have 2 nonmetal elements. It's a binary molecular compound. Binary means 2 different elements. We use prefixes, and remember the rules with prefixes is that the first element does not get a prefix if there's only one of them. So that's this case. There's only just one nitrogen, so we're not going to call it mononitrogen. And we give it the element name. We're going to call it not mononitrogen because there's just one. We're just going to call it nitrogen. And then we give the prefix tri because there's 3 chlorine atoms attached to nitrogen. So it's nitrogen trichloride. Carbon tetrafluoride, same rules. It's molecular, 2 nonmetals. FluorIDE. This is the one I made a mistake on before. NO2 is nitrogen dioxide. There are 2 oxygens. No, the person who pointed this out, mistake out to me, thought that that might be the nitrite ion. It's definitely not. The nitrite ion would be NO2 minus. And in a neutral compound, we don't have anions without cations. So if you see a neutral chemical compound, it's not going to be an ion. It'll be 2 ions, 2 types of ion. The last compound is molecular again. Phosphorus is a nonmetal, chlorine is a nonmetal. We're going to use prefixes. That's going to be phosphorus pentachloride. And that's it.